So we've all had those games where it's this one person ripping apart your team, whether it's a Kinessa your flank can't seem to advance on, or a Cassie that just keeps rolling through your team. In these types of situations, you may end up feeling like it's impossible to win because nothing you're doing is working. Two things are required for dealing with these problematic targets. One is preparation. In the drafting phase before the game, it is up to you and your team to pick things that counter the enemy team. So for something like a Strix and a Willow, you'd want to grab Maeve. In this game, the enemy team picked up Strix and Willow early on. When I saw that, I already had my mouse over Maeve ready to pick her for when my turn to pick came up. Now, this is where people stop. They grab a flank on their team and think that the problematic target is automatically already taken care of. All the flank needs to do is kill the target and that's it. Easy, right? Well, no, not really. This leads me to the second thing you need, and that's adaptability. The problem with the whole all the flank needs to do is jump on the target and kill them mindset is that it's only ever that simple with a poorly coordinated team. It relies on the target always being alone to work. While with a coordinated team, this is what would normally happen. Right here I go to advance on their backline. I get there and I see Strix, Willow, and Genos all in close proximity to each other. I jump on this, but it's pretty much suicide. I end up taking out the Willow, but that still leaves Strix to get some heavy damage off on my team while I'm dead. So you can't really just jump on the target and try to kill them if they're playing with their team like this. You're only going to get picked off. So after this, I found that there was really only two options. One is I wait until my teammates get some hits off on the Strix and the Willow before I advance on them, and then I attack. But I'm taking a big risk doing that because if my team doesn't attack them, then I'm sort of stuck waiting for them to. In this game, I realized that they really weren't going to help me out here, at least not in time. In this clip right here, the Strix is already hurt a bit thanks to my teammates, so I'm able to get the jump on him and take him out quickly before he can land a hit on me. Then taking out the Willow is easy because it's hard for her to hit me. And since I have no prior damage on me, the Willow really has no chance. Unfortunately, this opportunity arises long after the enemy capped the point, so it became apparent that I couldn't really rely on my teammates to help me deal with these two. The enemy does end up pushing it in regardless on top of that. So now I have to adapt and do something completely different because the last round made it clear to me that we can't really let them cap again because our defense isn't very good. So in this clip, I'm riding my horse and I see Willow. I know Strix is there in Viz with her because these two have been sticking together the whole time. I know Willow saw me too, and that's what I want. I get off my horse and I ult. This ult is purely defensive. It cuts off their visibility from my team so they can get on the point safely. It also makes them fear me, and I want that. When people get Maeve ulted, it makes them fear where the Maeve is going to come from, but I'm not coming for them. I activate my prowl to set up the illusion that I am coming for them because they can hear the noise, but all I want is for them to back off in fear. I pounce up onto the high ground as my ult ends so I can attack from where they can't hit me. At this point, their whole team is away from the objective and my team is capping and zoning. I only have one goal right now, and that's to kill Genos because as you can see, my team is getting their tanks weak, and if Genos is dead, they have no chance of healing up and getting back on the point, especially since they're both defensive tanks. They're naturally weaker at pushing in than aggressive tanks are. I kill Genos as Willow flies up and kills me, but at this point it doesn't really matter. I set up that whole thing perfectly. I was pretty much the enemy team's puppet master. They spent way too much time focusing on me, and they lost the point because of it. I was able to pull the round in my team's favor without even attacking the problematic targets once, but I still dealt with them. Now let's go ahead and skip to the final round for another example. Here I have no ult to help me. I advance up right side on my horse to figure out where Willow and Strix are. I see Willow up on left, and I know Strix is on the middle platform because I hear him firing and I see his bullet trail. Now again, I want them to fear me. I don't want to run in and try to kill them, because that's not going to work. Look at this advance. I run right through Strix's line of sight because I want him to see me and move his focus to me. At the same time, I attack Willow because I want her to run to Strix. I pounce at her, knowing that the Willow is going to want to fly away after my daggers landed. This was a gamble because if the Willow didn't fly off, I would have hit her, bounced off, and likely died to Strix, but it was worth taking because her flying to Strix got me in the exact position I wanted. Right here, there's plenty of cover for me to stay safe while harassing Willow and Strix, now that they're both in my direct line of sight. What I want to do now is jump around and toss daggers at them. I don't need to hit them because remember, I only really want their attention. If all their attention is on me, then they aren't attacking the point. and that leaves my team in the position where they're 4v2ing the enemy tanks. Genos is there, but he isn't attacking. He's only really standing back and healing. Now look what happens while I'm distracting the Willow and the Strix. Torvald gets low because they aren't pressuring my team, and he dies, and that's when Willow and Strix turn their attention to my team. Willow panics and flies into contest, but at this point the damage is already done. With no Torvald to take aggro, the Willow just dies. This sends the other 3 members of the enemy team into panic as well, because we're about to win. While I'm healing up, they start to advance in. They're so focused on the point that they forget all about me. I run out and get some quick burst on Strix. He turns to fight me, but he's already taken too much damage, so I clean him up and turn my attention to Genos since Barrick is dying to a 3v1. He starts moving around to avoid my attacks, but that's okay. While he's so busy doing that, he's not contesting. Torvald runs past him to the point, and I go to intercept, but my team already dismounted him, so now we just win. So you guys get what I'm saying now, right? Sometimes it's not as simple as just jumping on a target and killing them. Sometimes to pull out a win, you have to play smart and be creative. Being able to quickly adapt will win you more games than mechanical skill will, and that's something I've been noticing players rely on too much. Mechanical skill is great, but against people with similar or greater mechanical skill, it'll only take you so far. Use your knowledge of the game and the game sense you require to mentally outplay your opponents. If I didn't do all that, if I didn't go ahead and force the enemy to fear and focus me, we wouldn't have won that game. The only downside to playing like that is that my teammates automatically assumed I wasn't doing anything because they didn't see constant kills in the kill feed. So you might end up getting crap from people for doing stuff like this, but if it gets you the win, then who cares? Glory isn't what gets you TP. Now, when it comes to dealing with problematic targets, that's pretty much what flanks like Maeve are built for. Their squishy nature just requires a bit more finesse. But, in this meta we're in right now, some tanks act like big, beefy flanks. So you can deal with problematic targets with them as well. Again, it doesn't really require as much thinking and finesse. It's more about going all in and using brute force, really. There isn't really as much I can break down because, again, it's pretty straightforward. You get into a target's face and you force them to deal with you. If they're alone, they pretty much can't deal with you because you have more health, so you're going to kill them before they kill you. If they do get help, then you're basically getting 2 people's attention, and I already showed you guys how valuable that can be. I'd say dealing with targets is easier with tanks, but it can become difficult if the target has vertical mobility that allows them to get away because most tanks, besides Ruckus, can't follow characters that have vertical mobility. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Hope that was pretty helpful for you guys. I want to thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye!